Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm going to be looking at the G.I. Joe classified Cobra Saw Viper. This is a part of the Leatherneck Dial Tone Xandar wave. We've gotten three of the figures. We're still waiting on Dial Tone, although I know some have already gotten him from probably overseas sellers, so there's some reviews out there. I'm still waiting on mine, so until then, we are going to have to satisfy ourselves with the review of these two figures. I decided to buy two, and kind of surprised that I did, honestly. I mean, that's not to say that they're bad figures. I didn't have a connection to these particular characters. And a lot of times when it comes to figures that I buy, there's a nostalgia factor involved. But the Saw Viper came out after I was already out of the original line, and actually and out of the comic too. So I wasn't familiar with the character and the history that one in particular, when he was introduced, he systematically took out, about a dozen or so Joes, including Doc and Quick Kick, and I think the entire Battle Force 2000 team. I don't think Larry Hama must have liked those because he wiped out that entire team. But he was actually he wasn't a named character. He was just one of many Saw Vipers. So I think that's why Hasbro designed this new iteration to kind of look more generic. Maybe in a retro card, maybe we'll get the one that's depicted in the comic, because that guy was a bruiser and these guys are not. So we'll just we'll get into what these guys, what they represent, what they come with, and articulation and all that usual stuff. So here's the package. Cobra, yes, it says semi-automatic weapon. SAW stands for squad automatic weapon, but the original Saw Viper, the O-ring, it said semi-automatic weapon. So that's probably that was probably a misprint way back when. But anyway, we all know what it really means, and maybe this was just a throwback, no big deal. But there's some cool artwork on the side, and here's the picture on the back, which is a little on the morbid side because they're referencing the fact that Doc was killed by a Saw Viper, and along with a bunch of other Joes. So this picture is a little strange because it has a belt. It's belt fed and magazine fed at the same time. So I don't think it's kind of one or the other, as far as I know. I don't think you can have a magazine attached to the with a belt being also feeding it. So unless it's supposed to be like a catch basin for the brass, I don't know. If you are familiar with this kind of weapon, let me know if that's even a possibility. But obviously this is a fantasy weapon. It's the kind of a Cobra's version of the squad automatic weapon. It's not based on anything in real world, I don't think. That, at least it doesn't look like this, but I just kind of thought that was a little funny. But there is the back. I do think the photos are pretty good though. So, and then the other side and all of that. So that is the package. Let's dive into the accessories. So I've got two in different configurations. They come with, let's see, that's where to start. Let's start with this guy. So comes with a little saw, little handheld saw, which is kind of brutal when you think about it. But then again, the original Saw Viper was a very brutal, bloodthirsty guy. He didn't use a handsaw like this, but I think the Hasbro team thought this would be a little funny thing to add. So, and as you can tell from this picture, or this figure here, it attaches to the bottom. It comes with a pistol, which I actually quite like the look of this pistol. I don't know what exactly it is based on. That's something that I always try to kind of figure out, but it's got a compensator on it as well as a red dot sight. I would like for them to start like maybe painting a red dot on there, but I guess I could do that myself. And then the magazine is a fun stick, so it's an extended magazine, but it does not come out. It ports into his holster, which is molded onto the waist piece. We haven't seen, I mean, we've seen this kind of thing before. Like I think Shipwreck had some molded on, the waist piece that just covers the joint system. I think he had some stuff that was molded on. He comes with this knife that is just straight black, and the sheath is molded onto the back as well. I like I'm of a mixed mind, because I kind of like, I know why they did it this way, so it could have a pistol and he could hold, you know, at least I'm assuming, because of the molded overlay here. I mean, this is, I mean, it's not an overlay. This is just a molded piece. You can't take this off on the legs, but it does hinder articulation a little bit. So I would have liked somehow to maybe detach that, or if they could have maybe molded it onto this particular leg. I don't know. It hinders articulation a little bit, or they could have just gone the standard route of molding a strap so that it would fit over one of the legs. So, but this is what they did, and it's a pretty good pistol on the whole. It, let's see. Let's go ahead and kind of, comes with this nice purple helmet, which is, frankly, kind of looks like a male body part. And I'm kind of wondering, it doesn't look like the original helmet, so I don't know why they designed it to look like this, but it is soft, squishy plastic, and it molds fairly well, goes over the head fairly well. It comes with this neck guard, I guess. Is it like a neck gaiter? Is that what you call it? But, and it fits over, you know, fits over the neck. It doesn't exactly recess very well. I mean, it's got these two little hooks on the side, and it's, I mean, this is soft plastic, but it's soft, and it's molded on the inside to look like a cushion, and it stays in place fairly well. I think it could just, you know, it moves around a little bit. I think it would have, these tabs on the side are too soft to really, and they don't latch onto anything. So they're almost just decorative. I don't know if if the intention was that it would help keep it, you know, it'd have to be a more rigid plastic right there so that it actually would snap on. So it just kind of, it floats around if you don't have the helmet on. And then all of the shoulder pauldrons, they are detachable as well. I actually haven't taken these off just yet, and but you know, that's, I don't think the original had anything, so you can take these off and it looks more closely, it looks closer to the original, the O-ring figure, and as well as the wrists, the wrist guards, these come off as well. So there's you know, some display options for this guy. So he kind of comes with a lot when you think about it. You know, because you can take all this stuff off or leave it all on. Like I said, the armor on the legs, that is molded on. He comes with the backpack, and we've seen this with Roadblock as a part of the Tiger Force 2-pack with tripwire, and this backpack comes with that, and it does the job. It needs some alterations. I think this handle would have been better reversed, because with the helmet on, it kind of gets in the way. But it is a very well designed backpack, but it's kind of adds to the overall heaviness of everything. It weighs down the figure, and I've had some trouble kind of keeping him upright, so you might need a stand. This tab here, I think, was for he comes with the Madeuse, and you know, and this is a place to, I think, to peg in the tripod for the Madeuse. And but even though it's not designed for this, there's a square hole and a round peg, but it will fit. So this is a way you can store it. However, the bottom of the rifle, it doesn't, it kind of, you know, it's not meant to do that. But luckily, I think, I mean, maybe they were thinking ahead. Maybe they designed this lower part, whatever that's supposed to be. You know, it would have been better if it was a little shorter. It would have lined up a little better, and you could, you know, kind of get everything just kind of line up a little bit. But it's doable. You can definitely store it like that and then put it on the back of the figure if you want him just to display with the saw or the pistol. And I kind of tried that a little bit. He kept he kept falling over, so you might need a stand for him if you choose to do it that way. But that is an option. And the belt, this one is a little loose. That one, it stays in. It's a little more, either the plastic of the belt's a little thicker or the recess in the bottom of the backpack is a little more narrow, so it adheres better. So that is appreciated, but it slides in there like that. And you can feed the belt through either side. So I know on the promo, it's some people were probably complaining, you know, and then the back of the package here, it's showing it, you know, it's going out of one side and then all the way around to the other, and then it'd be ejecting out the other side. It fits either way, so you can fit it in the more traditional way. So just kind of, if you were on the fence because of some of these photos that you've seen, it's fine. You know, no big deal. You can feed it either way. It fits all your feeding options. So there's the backpack and the rifle, and then of course you can pop this out, and you have a box magazine that slides in on the side, and you can display him with that if you don't want to fool with the backpack if it keeps falling over, that sort of thing. So yeah, and the weapon itself, it came out, it's a little, the barrel is a little soft. It's a little soft, not flimsy, but you know, it's got some flexibility to it. I didn't have to heat anything up, and the handle, it pegs out, but it's got enough peggage to, you know, it stays in there, and it's you know, it rotates, or it moves back and forth, so gives you a little more range of motion with it. It's an interesting design. I don't know if this would actually work in real life, but the triggers like that, we'll get into that figure in a second. But the hand, yeah, with a 6-inch action figure, obviously we're trying to simulate natural human movement, and unfortunately these hands, if they don't have the vertical hinge, it won't necessarily work as well. But thankfully these figures do have the vertical hinge, but you might have to get a little more range of motion, you're going to have to take off the shoulder armor, so, or the forearm armor. And but yeah, that's the rifle. And then just kind of, oh yeah, and I'll start looking at this figure here. The saw pegs into the bottom. It, unfortunately, for both of these figures, maybe you won't have as much problem. The peg is not, it's just big enough to fit into this hole here. It's not, it holds, there's some slight retention, but not enough for my taste. It comes out a little too easy with very little effort. So and it's kind of oblong shaped, so it's not exactly square. So it almost looks like another round peg in a square hole. So a little handy tack you might be in the, you might need to use that a little bit. But you know, it's kind of, this is a crazy dangerous weapon when you think about it, like a chainsaw for a bayonet. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, and this is what it looks like without the neck guard here, and then of course this is the standard, you know, his standard head sculpt. It's pretty cool. They added a little communication piece on the side. It's a little difficult. I mean, you got to work the helmet to get it on, but once it's on, it's a pretty cool look. It just looks kind of, I mean, it looks like looks like a part of a male anatomy, and it's just a little weird. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So don't know why they designed it like that, as I said, but here we go. But at any rate, the only weird thing about this ski mask look is no, there's no there's no nostril holes. It's kind of strange to me. I mean, I know, you know, you can imagine they're there, but I don't know. I look at this and I can't help but think, how does this dude breathe? You So I don't know, maybe they could have designed it a little bit differently to come up a little higher and then paint the nose. But I mean, you know, it's a 6-inch action figure. There's no need to really split hairs over it, but it is just one of those things that I see and, can't unsee. And, it's, he kind of had neutral expression for what you can see of the face. I don't know. I guess I would have liked some kind of snarl, something like that, something less neutral for him. But at any rate, articulation is pretty good. I mean, it still has the ball joint, and it's kind of like, if you've seen my Iron Grenadier, it's a little too enclosed. So I'm definitely going to go in and bevel out some material there to give him a little more range of motion. But so just kind of keep that in mind as well. But pretty good side to side and a little tilt. But with the, with this on, this neck guard and then the helmet, there's not a lot of, I mean, you can, it's just that neck guard, it just kind of gets in the way a little bit. So if you're into photography, just be aware that to keep this neck guard straight, you are going to limit the range of the head. So it only kind of looks straight when he's looking straight. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, and this big old overlay I like it on a whole. I like the look of it. It's just, I kind of wish, like I said before in other videos, this is so thick. I think they could have totally molded in or made it so that there's a peg system so that you can just kind of pop it off and, and take it off. Like, this would have been the perfect time to try that out for classified, I think, given how much material is going into this guy. So maybe someday we'll see that. But articulation is pretty good. I mean, you gotta, to kind of demonstrate the T-pose, you gotta get the shoulders armor out of the way, and it's pretty solid. And I think this is completely new as far as I can tell. I think everything on this figure is new. So thanks to Hasbro for giving us that. Bicep swivel. Forgive me if you watch some of my other videos, I think I keep forgetting the bicep swivel, but as G.I. Joe Classified, I don't think there's one figure that doesn't have a bicep swivel. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't sampled all of the G.I. Joe Classified figures. I don't have the whole collection. Pinless arms and knees, and with all of the armor on, he gets that much range. He gets more if you take it off. Horizontal wrist peg on the left, and then vertical on the right, and it spins around. And like I said, you can, well, since we're here, let me just go ahead and take one of these off so I can show you. And that's what the arm looks like with all of the armor off. It's a different shade of purple from the gloved hand to the painted portion on the arm. And then there is the range of motion there. And pretty good, pretty good. I'm pleased with it. And, oh, and just so you know, there's, mine were a little loose, in the waist. So there's not much, there's probably a ab crunch, but of course the overlay gets in the way. But the waist piece comes down far enough, and the overlay, the vest, is higher enough so that you can get some pretty good side to side. But it's a little loose, a little floppy once you start doing that. So just be aware. I have actually, there is an ab crunch, sorry. The ab crunch was a little floppy too, and I've added a little Mod Podge in there to kind of tighten it up a little bit. So I will probably be doing the same thing for this waist, because I don't like floppy. That drives me nuts. Let's see. Because of the holster, you don't get much of in terms of a split on the right leg. So just be aware of that. But this new leg, the armor, the molded armor on the thigh, that hides the thigh cut, which is pretty good. it does kick up fairly far. And does it have, yes, it does have drop down. You can rotate it out and it kicks up a little bit further. And the holster does not get in the way on the kicking forward, so that's good. I do like the texture and just everything. I like the overall look of the figure. I mean, they folds in the pant leg, the armor, just lots of little details here and there, and so that's really appreciated. I will say that on both of these figures, the knees were crazy tight, and I had to heat them both up, so you might have to do that too. So this one, it's good looking. It just needs a little TLC when you get it out of the box. But now that I've heated them up, there's a bit more range of motion. It's a little more fluidity, if that's the right term for it. Kicks back that far. There is no boot swivel, no shin swivel, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I think they probably could have added it. Or maybe an ankle, like what they did with what they did with Airborne. I think they probably could have done something like that there. So foot goes down that far. Not much forward because of the shin guard, but it does have an ankle rocker, so that is cool too. And like I said, the knees were tight, and there's also some parts that are loose, like the hips feel a little loose, so I don't like having to Mod Podge a brand new figure right off the bat, but it's not as bad as that Firefly from 2023. So that is the S.A.W. VIPER. Let me know what you think in the comments section. On a whole, I really liked the figure. I liked it a lot in terms of just the aesthetics and range of motion and the detail that they put into it. So, and the accessories are pretty cool. If anything, it just kind of looks more, he looks more like an ordnance, what is it, explosive ordnance disposal. So he kind of resembles like Cobra's answer to Tripwire, all the armor on and everything and the neck guard and all that. It's like, it just looks like he's more of a bomb disposal. I mean, the look, it's still a cool look, but that's kind of what I see when I look at this guy. But he is the heavy machine gunner for Cobra. So it is what it is. And I'm not really complaining. It's just an observation. So anyway, I'm going to give these guys a warp factor of 8. I think that's fair, even though I said it's a little loose in the hips and in the ab crunch and everything, but everything else is pretty cool. Just kind of in this area, things are a little loose and you might need to use a little Mod Podge. But on a whole, warp factor of 8. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you guys next time.